Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been high in a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been high in a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fuck with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas, keep. You with me, sheesh. But need OG keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been high in a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I bust soon. Knew as a child, back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my broom. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm in a whip, so I gotta zoom. They tryna talk, they not in a room. I been so real, I'm dead to the tomb. They in the way, they gotta move. I got a gas, they running on fumes. Told them way back, it's something new. It's me or them, you gotta choose. I'm taking what's mine, I'm doing fine. Don't see the vision, they looking so blind. I hit my low, I don't got the time. Crossing my T's and he dotting those eyes. Don't take offense if I do not oblige. I can't relate but like none of these guys. They hit me once and I'm cutting the ties. I was so low but I'm back on the rise, it's real. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I bust soon. Knew as a child, back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my broom. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm hopping now I gotta go. I'm looking back, they not even close. I had a 4, now I need a ghost. I got a wave like I'm on the coast. Same ones are down and I dare the show. So way that I'm ballin', they think I'm a pro. I'm getting sick by the money I gross. They saying whoa, I told them all what this is. I told them all I don't miss. Said it's my time, look at this shit on my wrist. And when they shooting this breaks, I'm going in a new gear, gotta shift. I cannot stick to the script, I cannot wait. Watch how I get it and flip. It's just how I'm doing this shit that I'm going. Just how I'm doing this shit that I'm going. Ayy, just how I'm doing this shit that I'm going.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never
never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mafia, we're getting the continued rejection from the macro golden pocket. Bitcoin currently sitting at 112,897. Are we in store with over $1 billion in liquidation? Are we in store for a fast recovery or a much bigger drop to the downside? Now, if you guys saw the market update from earlier today, you will know that money flow is not necessarily on our side here for a massive bounce to the upside, but I'm going to break down the charts for you guys tonight. We'll take a look at the key levels. We'll take a look at Market Cipher B, and I'll give you guys my anticipation and my sentiment for what I'm going to be expecting next year on price. No, this is not enough to say that the top is in on Bitcoin. Unfortunately, we're still going to need some more development on price. We're going to need to break some more key levels of support. Well, I guess thankfully it's not the top. We can't guarantee that the top is in or anything like that. But as we are rejecting this golden pocket, guys, it is starting to become a little bit of there's a little bit of pucker factor here as we reject that golden pocket and have the money flow looking the way it does right now. So I'm going to break down everything for you guys. Yes, we are short from the top here, guys. So I'll talk about that as well. And yeah, we'll give you guys all the key levels you need to try to predict Bitcoin's next move. And hopefully we can keep being as accurate as we have here in the recent past. So shout out to the CandleMafia. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got Jesse in the chat. He is our like police, guys. Don't forget to smash that like button. We'll be doing a giveaway on Friday. Every 100 likes we get gets you guys a little bit closer to some extra crypto. If we get 550 likes on tonight's live stream, I will give away 3 Frankie Candles hats on top of the crypto that we're already going to give away. So smash that like button if you appreciate the free content. Let's see. Dave Hagen in the chat. We got Amina in the chat said next year it's September. Shout out to Amina. I don't know exactly what that's in reference to, but shout out to Amina. Welcome in. We got Aziz in the chat. We got Daniel in the chat. Who else? We got Rob the Crypto Snob. Captain Kirk, what is going on? Crypto Billy in the chat, guys. We got the mods in the chat. Show them some love. As always, if you love them as much as we do, show them some love in the chat. Welcome in, guys. Thank you for everything you do for the channel. Send the sauce stat. Shout out to Hollywood25. We got a lot to look at here, guys, so I don't want to waste too much time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. So let's get into it. Should I say it? I'm going to say it. Going for a short stream tonight, guys. Actually, I have some really important paperwork I have to do. I guess like digital paperwork nowadays. But I do have some important stuff I got to do. So I'm going to try to give a quick update here. Give you guys the key major levels. We'll break down some of the local levels, and we'll jump into the altcoins. And then I got to scoot out of here. Man, I hate this stuff. I won't get into details, but Just like annoying accounting stuff. Super stressful. But let's see. Perry says, Salud, Frankie. Still on the ETH short. Let's go. Shout out to Perry. Let's get it, baby. Let's go. We even took a look at ETH last week, guys. What did we talk about on Ethereum here? This was not the line that we had drawn. Actually, I had it here in the premium Discord. The line was still drawn. Guys, we were below the... Or actually, no, it's over here. I might still have it drawn. Hang on. All right, we don't have the, I don't think I have the line here anymore. But as you guys know, as we were bing-bonging around on Ethereum, even in here, below the value area low, guys, we compared it to this exact price action, deviate above the high, back in, scoot in above that value area high, accepted back in, looking for the POC, looking for the value area low. Once you tap that value area low, back above the POC, into the value area high, very similar to back here, deviation above, you come back in, you try to break out, and we were talking about last week, as long as we remained inside of this range, we were going to look for that next likely stop for Ethereum to be the point of control and even potentially the value area low of the range. And look where we are sitting right now. Pretty interesting, isn't it? And obviously, one of the big things, not just the volume profile here, but obviously money flow is a big factor as well. We had the 4-hour money flow in the red, indicating the trend to the downside would continue with a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low. So here we are, just kind of showing that as well, because it's very similar to Bitcoin, although we weren't looking at a volume profile in the same way. Just goes to show how powerful those volume profiles are. So I will break down Ethereum as well here, guys, but let's go ahead and start off on the Bitcoin chart. And obviously, guys, the rejection from our macro golden pocket, the big level we have been paying attention to, the first major area to potentially put in the lower high before maybe seeing a lower low come in, breaking structure to the downside at $107,000. And yes, guys, I would say, as much as I don't want to say this, I would say this is definitely in the cards, and if not just in the cards, maybe the higher probability outcome, because as you know, on Bitcoin, on top of Ethereum, as I just mentioned, another reason why we were looking at a pullback on Bitcoin, or a continued pullback on Bitcoin, was obviously the fact that we came up to that golden pocket retracement. Even on the last market update, I broke it down very simply on this chart, just showing, other than all the intermediary levels that we have, we were just looking at that golden pocket being the start of the major zone, guys. This is the huge level of resistance that we have to get above in order to anticipate all-time highs, more specifically $120,800. But when we come back over here, you can see we tapped into that golden pocket. We looked at this on the live stream. We had the low time frame bearish divergences up there, as well as a sweep of liquidity sitting right here. Got a little, it's very, very hard to see here because it wasn't a huge sweep. But we did get the SFP here. We had the local bearish divergences. We also, one of the reasons that I was actually looking to take that short position from the top here, or almost at the top, about 100, my entry is like right around here. But one of the reasons was high time frame bear divs, right? We had the 12-hour bear div, higher highs on our price action, lower highs on our momentum waves. We had the 8-hour bearish divergence, higher highs, lower highs. And not only did we have the 8-hour bear div, but at that same time, guys, we had the 30-minute money flow crossing over into the red at the exact same time as that 8-hour red dot was. We had the 30-minute money flow crossover into the red right here with that 8-hour red dot, right? 30-minute money flow crosses into the red. 8-hour red dot is printing at the exact same time, as you can see right here. And that does indicate that you are going to see a continuation on that money flow crossover to give you the lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, etc. So we had the money flow not only the bear divs with the 30-minute money flow, but we also had 2-hour money flow bleeding to the downside here. We had the 1-hour money flow crossing over into the red as well. So money flow was obviously the writing was on the wall here. This is why we were anticipating that pullback with our, somewhat of a key level that we came down to on Friday, but not really looking too good down here, guys, because of the money flow, anticipating lower highs and lower lows. And what were those next big levels that we were looking at? Well, number one, we did have the daily and the weekly MPOC sitting down here. Did I delete? I must have deleted one of these by accident. But we had a daily and a weekly MPOC pretty much right on top of each other here at about 114,250. And we tried, right? This was the scalp level, right? We were saying, there is confluence here, but in my opinion, the bigger level of support is going to be that $113,500 to $112,000. Let me hide some of this stuff so it doesn't look super confusing for you guys. Right, we had the $113,500 golden pocket value area low and the 786. This zone did run down to about 112,288, and that is the level that we're bouncing off of right now, right? So we had the local level here. Wasn't super interested in this for anything other than a scalp. I wound up not taking a scalp off that level anyway, but the bigger level here sitting at the $112 to $113,500 level. Sitting right down here, guys. And where are we? We're sitting right in that exact zone. But the question is this going to be a big enough support? Is this going to give us enough to get the higher low and then hopefully push back up in here and then push back into all-time highs? Well, I hate to break the news, guys. The charts are not necessarily pointing towards this being the low and a massive all-time high coming next. Now, it doesn't mean the bear market is here, right? We do still have some other key levels of support, which I will bring up in a second. But very nice, right? We were even anticipating this in the premium Discord. Let me see if I can pull this up, right? After we took that short position, right, looking for price to potentially continue down to the value area low for a little scalp bounce on the weekly and daily MPOC for a continuation down into the bigger zone of support and literally sitting down here like to a T, right? Just following our magic line as we can only hope for. Oftentimes does happen, but it is nice. There's an element of luck there, but you can see just the anticipation, right? Money flow coming out, high time frame red dots, and on top of the medium time frame money flow that we looked at last week, obviously always keeping an eye here on the higher time frames. The daily, obviously, money flow has been very, very chopped up recently, but the daily came into the red, then we peaked into the green for a second. But when we look at that two-day money flow, you could see, obviously, just continuously trending to the downside. And we even looked at this VWAP, looking to cross over the zero line, printing that red dot, just making it very high probability that, the dump was likely not over after hitting that value area low. So we're now sitting here, right? The if this, then that was like, hey, guys, we're going to hold the short. If we hit down here, this is where we can bounce. But why do I not really feel super good about this being the low? Now, I pray. The one good thing about this, guys, is there was over $1 billion in liquidations here on this move to the downside, which is not uncommon to see in a bull run. Get those liquidations to flush you out for a scary dump, only to turn back around and, continue the overall trend to the upside. Now, good news number one, a lot of this flush had to do with liquidations. Number two, we haven't really broken any important structure here just yet. If I pull up just the simple Fibonacci retracement, obviously the one that we're holding right now, sitting right here, this could be an area where we put the higher low in. I don't have a ton of confidence in this being the actual low, only because of our money flow here. If this two-day money flow crosses into the red, guys, there is very likely, right? Don't shoot the messenger, guys. I'm just bringing the news on the charts here. I'm just showing you what we're seeing. It is just looking like our anticipations last week were correct, right? Money flow continuing out on the two-day. If this continues out on top of the daily money flow being back in the red, we do still have to be cautious, just like last week that we were on the local time frames, looking for the lower highs and the lower lows. We can now look for this on potentially higher time frames, right? If we get the bounce here, I'll talk about some of the local resistance, but I will still be looking for lower highs and lower lows until proven otherwise, right? We have to go with what the money flow says until proven otherwise. If you want this to be the low before a massive rip to the upside, I don't want to say it's impossible because it's not, but you are hoping for just complete fake outs on all of this money flow. And money flow is right more than it's wrong, which is nice because it can help you catch those short positions like we did, but it is also kind of not great because it's all pointing to the downside right now. And I'll cover the bigger levels of support as well, but this is the level. I would say either way, I think there is a shot that you can get a little bit of a continued bounce here, whether it is the low or not. Again, lower probability that it's just the bottom. But I do think, right, you have the 5-hour green dot printing. 4-hour green dot just confirmed a couple of hours ago. So we have the 4-hour green dot, you get the 5-hour green dot, 6-hour, 8-hour, all these higher time frames are going to kind of follow suit. But again, all this money flow is coming out. So we just have to anticipate, right? Local bounce from here could be possible. And as I mentioned last week, this is an area that I was interested in adding to my long positions. I have not taken a fresh long here, but I did add to my swing long position that I entered down here at about the bottom, right? $107,000. But money flow, right? Like the anticipation here from a very simple perspective, guys. This money flow continues out. I am definitely going to be careful of lower highs and lower lows. And I know that sounds crazy, right? Everybody wants price to go up. But just think about last week, right? It was the same thing here on the lower time frames. It's like you have to look for those lower highs and those lower lows with your money flow creeping to the downside here, right? Like this is just indication of the bearish trend. Doesn't mean you can't get little bounces, but the continuation of that overall trend is going to be more important. So we'll see if we can get a local bounce here. You got the support. You're currently holding the 786, which is very nice. And you have those high time frame green dots with some lower time frame money flow coming up as well. Your 15-minute tried to come into the green. That 4-hour 15-minute market cipher B 1/16th bullish setup is kind of now stepped on because we've already confirmed the green dot on the 4-hour. But we do still have some of this money flow attempting to come up. But I would just definitely be looking at this as local bounces until proven otherwise, right? Like, because in order to see a real sign of strength here, in my opinion, we got to put the higher low in here and we got to crack structure to the upside and flip this POC to support. It's not until we do that where I'm going to start feeling a lot better. At that point, you're hoping that your money flow is just flying back to the upside, again, faking out, which is not the highest probability. So just kind of give you guys, like, not only like, hey, I am Very short-term bounce potentially, but medium-term, lower highs and lower lows is more likely. Not just giving you my sentiment, but showing you exactly why I feel that way. Or not feel that way, but exactly why I come to that conclusion, right? It has everything to do with the charts. And it was right back here helping us hold that short position, which I am still holding here. Let me see. I do have it up. About up 1790 right now, so not too bad. Almost short from the tippy top. Didn't get the SFP, but we caught it up on a retracement here in the premium Discord. So I am still holding that. I am still holding a portion of my long position that I've now added to. So pretty cushy position to be in, to be quite honest, guys. But again, you know, I want Bitcoin to go up as much as the next guy, probably even more. I do hold a bunch of Bitcoin, but yeah, I mean, the real thing that has me a little bit concerned here is that money flow is back in the red on the higher time frames, and we have already been looking for a high, a low, a potential lower high, and a potential lower low to break structure at 107K. And the only reason I'm still entertaining this is because money flow is still pointing in that direction. Take it back to all the way back here in early 2025. Right? We had the 2-day money flow crossover. We broke down out of the range. Money flow is coming out. What did we look for here? Sure, you could get the bounces. Sure, they could get somewhat exciting, but lower highs and lower lows are to come based off money flow continuing your overall downtrend. It's the same thing here, right? Could we have come up here, faked out, money flow came back into the green, shoot up to new all-time high? Sure. But the highest probability was the fact that you were going to continue that downtrend. It's pretty much the same exact thing here. So hoping for the fake out, definitely not the highest probability in my opinion. But, you know, again, I don't want to just come off as bearish. I'm not saying that the top is in on Bitcoin, but, I mean, we talked about how important this level of resistance was last week, because of the nature of putting in the high, the lower high, and the lower low, right? Breaking down below 107K, this now would start to look like Bitcoin is looking a lot more weak and could cause a much bigger crash. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We have not broken any significant structure just yet. We have the full Golden Pocket 786 retracement, which I'll go over right now. They're the next local levels to the downside. You know, at the end of the day, right, technically we can go as deep as this Golden Pocket or 786, leading down to about $109,450 and still hold that higher low. Is this a high probability? Well, if we do this, right, if we do get the next drop down into this fib retracement level and money flow is crossing into the red on the higher time frames, I would still be looking for lower highs and lower lows, right? Because you got to think, like, in the next couple of days if we come down here, right, this money flow is just going to continue trending out, which is lower high, lower low scenario. So just be aware of that. Definitely not looking the best as far as money flow. And to add insult to injury, we rejected a major level that you could look for the macro lower high. So local bounce, potentially. I just don't know if it's going to have the power to bring us all the way back up to all-time highs. Now, what are those key levels of resistance? Let's say we do bounce here. The biggest level of resistance is really going to kind of be this same zone right here. Value area low. We have the, I believe these are tapped now. No, we have a weekly MPOC sitting right here, daily MPOC sitting right here, and a value area low. Now, this is also confluent with our Fibonacci retracement levels. So if we get the continued bounce, you do have to understand, right, if we pull, I'll pull the full fib here. This is not going to be the first level that I look at, but you can see the golden pocket is sitting right up there as well. If you wanted to get a full retracement into the golden pocket, this is confluent. And even if we pull this down to a lower, even if we pull this down to a lower high, right, you can see the 786, local 786 golden pocket is up in here as well. So I would say really between about 115 all the way up to about, 116K. This is like the big level of resistance because just like back here, the example I showed you 2 seconds ago, right, it was a very, very similar scenario, kind of like, I would call it on a higher time frame, but you have your range here, right, and then, what do you have, right? Money flow coming out, again, on the higher time frame, such as the 2-day. Does it mean that you're never going to bounce? No, you get the bounce, but where would you be looking for the lower high here? You would pull your fib, golden pocket 786. This is the area that you could come back in, potentially tease into the volume profile, but because these fib levels are here, area to put in the lower high and the lower low, that's that big level of resistance. It was the same thing we were looking at back here, and we did get the rejection. It's almost the exact same scenario, right? You would basically be creeping back into that profile to come test these Fibonacci retracements, right? So value area low zone, really between 115 and 116K is going to be that big level if we have to get that retracement to look for the lower high and the lower low. So simply put, between 115 and 116K is the biggest level of resistance right now. And the biggest level of support, I mean, we're kind of at the first one, but if we break this, I am just going to view this as a volume profile, very simply, right? We are attempting, get that POC marked out, right? I wouldn't even say breaking out of here is like a huge sign of strength, right? We're below the anchored VWAP, but even if you get that correction, right, get back in here. POC, we have some confluence down here that I want to talk about, and then if we lose that POC, I'll just be looking down to the value area low. That would give us a full fill of this volume profile where we could potentially look for new longs. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, and I'll show you that confluence in a minute. I'm not going to talk about the exact confirmations that we're looking for the trades or anything like that, but I will show you those key levels of support. But let me jump into chat here real quick. I've been kind of neglecting you guys. Jumped right on into the chat. Let's see. I'm a bull in Bears clothing. Bull in Bears clothing for now. Shout out to Crypto Knight. Welcome in, bro. Yeah, I mean, until we break down below 107K, right, there is still an opportunity to hold the higher low and the higher high. Whether we have it, whether the low comes in here or down here. Again, I would say money flow is not pointing towards that. But technically, until we break structure of $107,000, this is really where I start to worry a lot more. So nothing really broken yet as far as structure. But when we try to front run what is going to happen next based off money flow, I mean, I don't think anybody could argue, right? Whether this is going to fake out or not is another question, right? But more often than not, the money flow is correct, and I don't think anyone can argue that this is definitely trending down, right? There's like no arguing that. So hopefully it's not the case, but it is definitely looking like that, and that's what kind of gives me that like really, really cautious sentiment right now. We lose that 786, crack that structure to the downside, and then this $107,000 level, guys, is the massive, massive, massive level of support that we covered all the way back here that we did not want to lose, which is obviously the macro golden pocket. Anchored VWAP from 75K was here. You had the value area high of our previous macro range, like huge level. It was also the bull market support band, right? So like once you break down below that, man, probably looking down towards about $104,000. And if we lose that, I'll be honest with you, $96,000 to $92,000 is in the cards. So when I say I do not want to lose this golden pocket $107,000 zone, I'm okay with a sweep, just like we talked about a couple weeks ago, right? If we come back down for one more sweep, we could put in high time frame bull divs. But if that money flow is going to play out and it's going to continue that trend, guys, like lose that 786. Like this is bad for Bitcoin in my opinion. But not yet. It's not until we lose this level, right? We patiently wait for that level to get broken. Until then, right, we stay above this level. It still is just a very, very complicated price action, right? It's just like, are you going to put in the higher low? Is money flow going to fake out? It's a very difficult situation, but just to keep it nice and simple, lose 107K decisively. That's like the big level you don't want to lose. Higher time frame. Because after that, the last level of defense you have is $104,000 at the 786. Lose that, I'm not going to lie. It's looking more, it would be at that point, right? Not right this second, right? But at that point, it would be looking more and more likely like the top could be in 125K. That is not my sentiment right now, to be clear, right? But just showing you guys like the importance of holding these levels, especially that 786. So we'll cross that bridge if and when we get there. But, good things. A lot of liquidations on that dump. Nothing really too shocking there. And we have not broken any significant structure just yet as well. So I'll keep you guys updated here. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Seth said, we just said that when we bounced off 107K. Yeah, same thing, right? Like when we bounced here, it was like, this was a huge level to hold, right? And even if we came back down for another sweep of liquidity down here, it could have looked okay. It might have just taken a little bit longer to see that happen. But again, now that money flow is coming out, I don't know, guys. I mean, this is $107,000. Like, you do not want to lose that level. Like, just to be very, very simple. If you take anything away from this stream, mark off 107K on your chart and be aware if we break that level. Shout out to Satoshi Chronicle. Said, Frankie, when you use the fib levels, is your setting on fib levels based on log scale? No. This will only move your fib a very, very, very tiny bit. But I have it off by default. Shout out to Satoshi Stacker. Hopefully that helps you out. Shout out to P-Dub said, I'm here. I did in fact make it. I was stuck on a Social Security admin during premium. I knew the sauce would keep me sane. Shout out to P-Double. Yeah, there we go, right? And the only thing we can do, just like, up here, right? I couldn't guarantee, right, that once we came up to that golden pocket, we would reject. But what I could have said, or what I did say, was, very high probability of a rejection there. This is why we shorted here, right? I was just simply waiting for the long to continue playing out, take a little bit more profit, right? Stop loss at break even, and then take the short, right? So I would say the biggest levels right now that I'm waiting for a trade, I was considering taking a long position from the level that we're bouncing at right now, which is the 786. I didn't take the new position, but I did add slightly. I added a little bit to the long position, right? So no new long here. I would prefer to come down to our next key levels, which I will bring up right now before we move into the altcoins. And that is going to be sitting, right, just within the profile, right? If one thing here is that we do have this big old wick here, right? Some people like to say where it wicks, it sticks, right? Doesn't mean you have to go down there right this second. You might get the retracement first and then come take out this low. But I would prefer, other than taking a fresh long from here, even though I do think that you could get a local bounce for the retracement, I'm just more interested. I would be more interested in the long if we can come take out this wick sitting at about 111,600 into our golden pocket daily point of control confluence. This level sits between 111,500 and 110,880. Next big key level of support. If we can't break out here, or even if we get the retracement, break back into the range, I have alert set here. Actually, I don't have alert set here. I do have alert set here. So I get the alert set here. I'm more interested in a long position from here. If we get the retracement, I'm happy on just holding my long position that I added to here. But even on the way up, guys, like I want to be very clear. We have the short-term anticipations and the longer-term trend continuation. Short-term anticipation, maybe the high time frame red green dots can give us the continuation up, but I'm not personally just longing based off of that. I would rather wait to come take out that liquidity into the POC golden pocket. Now, this golden pocket is the full golden pocket from the low at 107K about to the high, right? It's from the tippy low to the tippy high. And that's your full golden pocket retracement. So it's just kind of hard, right? Like, is the higher low going to come in on this local retracement? Maybe. But with the way money flow looks, the fact that we're below the volume profile, I would just much rather wait here, wait for this lower level to get hit. Full golden pocket retracement. And I will be treating that as a scalp until proven otherwise, just based off money flow. If we lose that POC golden pocket, well, very simply put, well, you're below your value area high. POC is next. Lose the POC. We're looking to come down to the value area low. Daily /786 Fibonacci retracement. If we can hold that, well, that's your last place to put in the higher low to continue up before you lose this. This is our last chance to bounce before we start looking for the break of 107K. If we lose this 786, you got the weekly MPOC is back up underneath you, so maybe you get like a little wick down there. But and I will personally just be treating this as a volume profile. Obviously, we look for shorts at the highs, and then we will be looking for longs at the lows, right? Highest probability long positions are going to be had at the value area low or a deviation beyond that, right? So I'll look for longs down there, potentially treating them as scalp/range trades until proven otherwise, only if I get the confirmations, right? If we wind up losing that level, lose the golden pocket PLC, value area low is next, lose this 786, I am anticipating a break of $107,000, which is nice. Not nice, right? It's only nice because we're holding the short from the top. But that's what I'm looking for, right? If we can't hold that 786, I am anticipating that break of structure below 107K. And then we'll cross that bridge if and when we get there. But those are the biggest levels. POC, and if you don't want to look at like all the confluence and stuff, you just want to keep things nice and simple, you can just look at this as a volume profile. Hide the golden pocket, even though it's important, right? But if you just want a simple outlook here, right? Get stuck in the range. POC is next, sitting at 111,243. Lose that. You're looking down towards that value area low zone, starting at about $109,000, $109,900. We also, if we look at the heat maps, I'm not going to pull the heat maps up today just to save time, but we do have liquidity not only sitting below this wick, but we also have liquidity sitting in this $109,000 zone as well. So just to understand that, right? Like that liquidity can act as a magnet as well. So that's what I'm looking at. Lose that 786. I'm looking for the break of $107,000. Let's jump into chat here real quick. Market makers would be dumb to not collect the money there. Yeah, shout out to Borpato. That's kind of my thought process. Jesse says, like number one, smash the like button, Mafia. 1,000 likes is needed. Make sure you get your thumbs done. Let's go. Make sure you get your thumb done. Shout out to Jesse. Let's get it. Shout out to Dave, said people talk a lot about market makers like the Men in Black, UFOs, and the deep state. Yeah, shout out to Dave Hagen. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And I think it is, right, like the goal of the market makers, right, like they're not looking to wreck your positions, right? They're just looking to hunt out that liquidity to fill larger orders. So it's not necessarily like a malicious act, but yeah, a lot of people look at it like they want to wreck. I would say the market likes to wreck as many people as possible, but it's not really like a malicious thing. Let's see. Shout out to Farman, says, Frankie, people are saying BTC is decoupling from the stock market. Do you think that's really happening, or is it just short-term noise? Shout out to Farman. I mean, what I will do here is, like, I won't even give you my opinion, right? We'll just look into it, right? Because, like, better than just my opinion. My opinion is going to come from the charts anyway. But let's take a look, right? Let's take a look at the SPY, right? Well, SPY, obviously not getting as much of a pullback as Bitcoin. But another thing we've been keeping an eye on, guys, is the RTY, which did end up getting a rejection here. Do I not have this marked out? Obviously, we're above the 786, which is nice, but we had the highs marked out here. Might be on the alt chart. Yeah, right. So the RTY like broke out. We lost it. Now we're playing around with this resistance level. You know, I would still say we had the rate cuts come in, right? They're assuming that they're going to cut 25 basis points in the next meetings. It is technically a looser monetary policy incoming, or it's here. So, you know, if we see this breakout, guys, like I still would say, right, like RTY still at the highs. Your total 2 did get rejected here at the highs. We talked about this being the big area that you can get the breakout from. But at the same time, not only is it major resistance, we also had these bearish divergences that we were looking at forming here with our higher highs on price action and the lower highs on momentum wave. So we did get that little correction. I wouldn't say, like, there's nothing about this, right? Like, obviously, if we're just going to go into a bear market, like, this could be the high. But there's nothing about this pullback that necessarily means that the high is in. You know, I would really prefer to hold above these lows, if I'm being honest. But, yeah, I mean, you know, maybe I don't think seeing the SPY push up as Bitcoin pulls back, like, you know, I wouldn't say it's, like, officially decoupled, right? It could just be short-term noise. Kind of hard to make that call, to be quite honest. But yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, recently, or, you know, over the last day or so, you know, definitely looking a little different here, right? Like, not as big of a pullback on the SPY or anything like that. But again, Bitcoin dominance still, right? We got a little pop up on the Bitcoin dominance. We looked at this last week with the 2-day bullish divergence looking to print. We got the lower lows on our price action, higher lows on our momentum waves. Anticipated. I even had the line drawn out here in the premium Discord. We still had it drawn from the live stream on Friday. On the live stream on Friday. 2-day bull divs, right? You can get the push to the upside, but overall, you're going to be anticipating lower highs and lower lows. Why? 2-day money flow crossover into the red. 3-day money flow still coming out here. 4-day money flow also trending to the downside here. This looks like this trend is more likely to continue for lower highs and lower lows, right? So Bitcoin dominance still looks weak. Technically, you have the looser monetary policy. You have the RTY still at the highs here. You still have total 3 somewhat close to its highs. So, you know, it's not like this dump isn't like, oh, my God, the top is in on Bitcoin. Oh, my God, no alt season. Like, could that be the case? Maybe. But there's nothing about this exact move that has called that, right? Again, we have not broken structure here. And then, you know, when you start looking at money flow, it's like, well, if that money flow plays out, we could be in for more of a dump here. And that's why I bring up that $104,000 786, because we could get that bigger dump to play out and then hold support on the 786 for the bigger move up finally, right? And again, rate cuts is not a thing where they cut the rates and it's instant up forever, right? More often than not, you'll see a month of sideways correction, sideways price action, or even a correction to come in before October can start. We are still in Rectember, guys. Rectember is not over just yet. Shout out to Green Day. Wake me up when September ends, guys. Did I get that right? I think that's Green Day. But yeah. Let's see. AVAX is AVAXing. Shout out to Golden in the chat. What is going on, Golden? Welcome in, bro. Thank you for tuning in here. Shout out to Golden. Drop those golden emojis in the chat. Let's just make sure I didn't miss anything here in chat. Shout out to Dave Digital. Said, exactly, Frankie. The market makers are just doing their job. Yes, absolutely. And arguably, their job may be to, you know, their job is indirectly just fulfilled when they wreck retail traders, unfortunately. But yeah, shout out to Wolf of Crypto. Said, where is Golden? That's funny. Golden popped in right after that. He said, I remember manipulating the market. The good old days. Shout out to Golden. Bring it back, baby. Bring it back. Except manipulate it to the upside, Golden. Please, for the love of God. Let me just jump in here. I did see some super chats pop in. Shout out to Dave Digital, laughing at the short stream comment. I actually really do have crazy stuff to do here. Not crazy stuff, but I do have a lot to do. So I am going to try to go. I mean, we'll take a look at some of the altcoins, but I'm going to try to hop off at least a couple minutes early. Thank you for the super chat, bro. And Retro, Mike Tech, also known as RMT, says, I need NOS. My car topped out at 140 miles an hour this morning. I need one of the big ones. Actually, you know, let's make it 2. And Frankie, I need it by tonight. Shout out to Retro Mike Tech. We could try to take a look at NOS. I will write it down here. But quick reminder, guys. I know Mike knows this, but please do not super chat your altcoins. It does not guarantee we will look at it, but I will mark that down. I will try to take a look at that for you. Retro Mike Tech, thank you for the super chat, brother. Let's see. Feels like the final shakeout of or the start of the downtrend. If days from the halving stay consistent, we are close. Yeah, shout out to Charlie M. This is another thing we've been keeping an eye on, guys, and that is just from a higher time frame perspective. Oh, man, I accidentally deleted one of these lines. But, you know, actually, no, the line I had here was October 30th. Let me just mark this off real quick. And that is the 1-to-1 fib, just marking out kind of like where we have seen tops come in in the past, right? The previous top had come in right on that 1-to-1 fib. That 1-to-1 fib is sitting on October 20th. And when we measure the timing from the halvings to the tops, we are getting close here, guys. And I was talking to the premium Discord earlier today, right? You guys will know, right? If you watch this show, I talk about all of these dumps, right? Obviously, we were live through all this price action, but back here, everybody was questioning, like, here and here were the first two big times where I had a lot of questions of, Frankie, is this the bear market? And my answer was very simple and very explicit back then. I am not looking for the bear market to come in here. Right? A lot of people thought 20% dump from the high, official bear market. I don't know why they would say that, but obviously not the camp that we fell into. This is a buy the dip opportunity. Same thing up here, right? Not really, not looking for the bear market to come in. Tons of DMs, tons of comments. Is this the bear market? What the heck is happening? Frankie, is it all over? And of course, we did have a scenario here. If we did break down below major key levels we had underneath this, right? We got stuck underneath those levels. Maybe it would have looked like the bear market was coming in, but as we were holding major structural highs here, it actually looked higher probability that we were going to get that massive bounce for a new all-time high. And we did see that happen. But right now, although we are in a similar situation, it is a little bit sketchier in my opinion because we are getting so late into the cycle. Now, it does not mean that you can't see the cycle extend a little bit just because 525 days from the halving to the top was what happened last time. Does not mean you're going to see that exactly play out the same way this cycle, right? It could be a little shorter, it could be a little longer. I'm not saying it can't extend. That's why I'm paying a lot of attention to like the 107K level and the $104,000 786. Once we start breaking that, it's looking a lot more likely that 125K was the top. But as long as we stay on top of that, which again is also the bull market support band, as long as we stay on top of that, could still just kind of hold that bigger structure to continue up. It would be a much more scary and sketchy situation. But the reason why I am a little bit alarmed here and just kind of entertaining the fact that we could continue down and potentially, if we hold these levels, it could wind up being bad, is because of the higher time frame money flow and the fact that we are so deep into this cycle already. So traditionally, you wouldn't expect this to continue down, bounce around here for another, into 2026 and then mid 2026 it flies. Could you see that happen? Sure. Obviously, Jerome Powell, I think his term ends in May of next year. I'm not 100% sure, but there are arguments that could, we can dig into that at a later date. It's just not what we typically see. And every time people call for this time is different, they are more than often wrong, right? So just understand that. That's not my opinion, right? Everybody in 2021, this time is different. Send it to 100K. Golden bull run, it's never going down. They say it every cycle. They said it in 2017. Well, what happens? The 4-year cycle and the macro liquidity cycle is really what drives this thing, right? So I wouldn't really be anticipating anything different until we see real signs for that to happen. So that's an arguable thing. It's very speculative. It's very long-term, so I won't cover that today. But yeah, a great point. I forgot who said it. But, we are getting pretty close to, the longest we've ever been, right? So yeah, again, doesn't mean you have to top out on October 20th, but we are just generally getting to the area where this thing is typically coming to an end, right? If the top is not already in, even if we get that new all-time high, I would be expecting a final parabola to come in here for that final top to come in. And the real question is, are we going to get that parabola or is the top in already? And until we lose that $104,000 786, it's really hard to call that confidently based off the charts. So yeah, pray that we hold above $107,000. And, we talked about this. CZ's the master manipulator of this bull run. Yeah, shout out to Don Crypt. I would have to agree with that. But also, I covered this with the premium Discord, right? What were some of those early warning signs in 2021, right? It's very similar because when you think about it, sure, even if we come down to this macro 786, you could say to yourself, well, hey, we got a macro high or low, right? This could be a macro high or low for a macro high or high. But when money flow points against that being the high probability situation, right? Sure, this level is good for a higher low, but if money flow is pointing towards a bounce, a lower high, and a lower low, the chances of this being the higher low is very low. Low. Same thing in 2021, right? We had this massive Golden Pocket 786, right? I would even consider this a little bit more macro. Is this an area where you could put a higher low in before seeing a higher high on price? Sure, and I'm sure people were looking for that. But the reason why I was suspicious of this not being the higher low was because of our money flow on the higher time frames, right? Number one, the 2-day money flow crossed over all the way back here, which we're starting to see right now. And then the 3-day money flow wound up crossing shortly after that right here, almost at the same time. Then your 4-day money flow crosses over just a little bit. Actually, 4-day money flow was a even earlier indicator. 5-day money flow was also crossing over into the red. And then your weekly money flow wound up crossing over right before the last dump into the bear market. So, we don't have, right, on this little retracement that if we come down to this local 7.8 or this macro 786 and we start pushing up, again, it's the same thing that we looked at weeks ago. We're just back down. We're just on our way back down. So we come back when we were at 107K, we were talking about, hey, if we lose 107K, we push down to that 786, and then on that retracement up, weekly money flow is coming out. That's very bearish. And it's the same thing. Money flow is kind of flat here on the weekly. We do have a fresh red dot. But when you look at the 2-day, money flow crossing into the red, 3-day, not really too much to take away other than a red dot. You also have the 4-day red dot, which does look awfully like a blood diamond to me. I'm surprised this is not a blood diamond. But you got the 4-day money flow coming out, your 5-day money flow coming out. Your 6-day money flow is pretty thick in the green still. Weekly money flow is still pretty thick in the green. So it's really not until we start seeing this money flow on the weekly start to come down, right? If we get the bigger drop down and we get the retracement, right? If we see the money flow coming out on that retracement, that's going to be the really bearish sign. And just kind of comparing that to 2021, right? Like the lower daily time frames can give that early signal, but the weekly is really that thing that would make you point towards potential incoming bear market, right? That weekly money flow crossover into the red, literally right here. Because anytime we look at this, right, even on a lower time frame, money flow indicates the higher time frame trend, right? That money flow would indicate lower high, lower low. But on the weekly, it's like lower high, bear market. So we're not quite there yet. So we do still have support down below, and we also don't have money flow crossing into the red just yet. But just to show, we are getting pretty late into the cycle here, right? Which is why if we want to get going, we kind of, October would probably be the time to start this thing going up. Maybe we last a little bit longer. The alts fly. Remember when the alt season happens, it is not typically a long period of time, guys. It's usually like a couple weeks or a month. So maybe we do get a little bit more pain, and then maybe we get a late pump, and then the altcoins start to fly. But that is going to be looked at, in my opinion, as the grand finale for the bull market. If we get up there and it looks really good, we'll call for higher prices. But as of right now, I could see that situation if we do put in the new all-time high, right? We get October happen, right? Bada boom, you start pushing up, altcoins start flying into the last parabola, and then, it's pretty much game over. Not game over forever, just for the, potential bear market to come in. So yeah, timing of the cycle here, it was very easy for me to say. I don't want to say easy, right? But it was much more confident talking about how, like, this is very, very unlikely to be the start of the bear market. This is very unlikely to be the start of the bear market. But up here, it just gets sketchier and sketchier the closer we get to the end of the cycle. But until we lose that $104,000 786, I would say, let's play it level to level here. And again, we're making money on the shorts to the downside in the premium Discord. Shout out to the premium. So yeah, it's just a level to level situation. We'll see what happens. Either way, right? Let's say even if we come down from here, right, we're literally short from the top. But that's not my anticipation just yet. But, it's when you try to front run that money flow, it's like, if I had to guess, right, sure, money flow can fake out. And at this point, right, if you're hoping for higher low, like once we get down here, you got to get this money flow completely changing, right? You got to get that sending back in the green, because if not, it's just more and more likely that it's looking more and more bearish. So there you go. The geopolitics with inflation and tariffs with CZ screwed the bull run cycle. Shout out to Don Crypt. Could be the case. Could totally be the case. It's stuck in the 112K range for more than 10 hours. Isn't there at least buying for a retracement? Clearly 112K isn't cheap. What do you think, Frankie? Yeah, shout out to Lucia. Like I said, we were looking at this, obviously, as a key level on the live stream last week. I always try to keep it, there's a lot of stuff that we look at. I'm a trader, right? So, like, when we can make money on, like, all these moves, I always have to keep an eye on, like, all the local levels. But for me personally, right, like last week, the big levels to look at, as you know, I'll hide this because this is more of like a recent update. But I was simply waiting for 112K. We had the 114,250 level, but as I mentioned on the live stream, I wasn't really that interested in anything other than a scalp. I wound up not being on the chart, so I didn't even take a trade there. And for what it's worth, right, like we did hold that level slightly, right? Like that's where that little blip came in, right? Right at that 114,250 level, where we had the weekly and the daily MPOC, which are now tapped, which could be key resistance on the way back up for a lower high and a lower low. So yeah, I was just sitting in the short, be like, I'm waiting to see if we can come down here over the weekend. We're now sitting there. I don't really love the way the chart looks here for at least, maybe a retracement. Yeah, I think it, could be okay for that. But for me personally, for a new trade, like I would just rather sweep the lows into the POC for a scalp. And then I always prefer longing the value area lows, right? So, could you put in the higher low here on the macro golden pocket? Sure. POC confluence. But even that, I would have to treat as a scalp until proven otherwise. And we have plans in the Discord for what we're going to do down there. But I would still say, right, like if you just get a lower high and a lower low here, we're just going to be anticipating the fill of that range, right, which would not be uncommon. And if you think it's crazy to think that, well, just take a look at Ethereum, right? Ethereum this is exactly what we looked at on Ethereum. Can't get out of the range, back in, POC, value area low, right? And I covered this like in detail on Friday's live stream. Very similar to this. I even drew even pulled the bars pattern, right? Like the volume profiles are goated, guys. And it's not just the volume profiles. The fact that the money flow is coming out as well, right? Like look at your 4-hour time frame. Your 4-hour money flow is crossing into the red. Could you get a bounce here? Sure, but you still got to get above the value area high. And until you do that, right? Lower highs, lower lows to be expected, and you're anticipating that full fill of the range. But we even pulled the bars pattern, right? You have the deviation above the range before getting trapped in and going back down to the low. Same thing here. And I'm obviously it doesn't work out timing-wise, but you can see here it's like very, very similar. We looked at this for multiple days in a row. Deviation above, back into the range, can't get out. You faked out, but you couldn't get out. Money flow is coming out. You're just going to look for that full fill of the range, and here we are, right? Back here, we bounce around the POC before tapping the low, but here it was a much cleaner fill. So when I say the volume profiles will absolutely change your life, they absolutely will. Best trading tool you could possibly use, and it's free. So there you go. Let me come back into chat real quick. Shout out to Robert, said it's called a shakeout. That's what we're hoping for. Right? Again, the positive thing here is that a lot of this was liquidations, right? I think it was like over $1 billion in long liquidations on this move down, which is nice. It's really just the money flow, guys. And I hate to just keep saying money flow, but I mean, it's literally why we held the short here for a continuation down. I don't just hold it and pray, right? I mean, I guess I hold it and pray, but it's always based off information. This money flow comes out, very high probability that you can make some extra money on those short positions, right? Or a long position if money flow is coming up, right? It's like, why would I not capitalize on this move to make some money on the way down if we think it's going to continue, right? And if we stopped out, no big deal, right? It would have been a very small loss, and the long would have continued to play. So yeah, we're hoping it's the last shakeout. You still have October. Again, there's nothing on the chart right now where I can be like, update, guys, bear market's here. But the real warning shot that I want to call here is that money flow, unless it fakes out, definitely looks like more pain is incoming, even if we retrace back to the upside. So if you don't want something like this, whether we bounce here or off the POC or off the value area low 786, like if you don't want something like this, right, for lower highs and lower lows, you are praying for complete fake outs on money flow, which do happen sometimes. But a lot of this money flow, I mean, just not pointing in the right direction. Let me ask you a question, chat. Let me know. When money flow looks like this, right, especially with the red dot printing as well, but let's just say we get a green dot on the 2-day, and let's say we're at the POC, and we get the green dot on the 2-day. What are you anticipating looking at this chart? Shout out to Jeff Gates. Exactly. You're going to be looking for lower highs and lower lows, right? And we'll get into those levels once we start getting the bigger bounce. Like I already showed the key level of resistance I'll be looking at as of right now. If we move down lower, we'll update those levels. But money flow coming out. This is telling you that you're going to be much better off looking for shorts at the highs rather than local longs into new all-time highs. It's literally why I'm holding that short from the top. And we covered it all last week. Cover it live. I walk you guys through exactly what I'm doing every single day. And that money flow had a lot to do with what we were looking at to take that short, right? And it pays out. Could this have totally faked out and shot up? Sure, but it's the lower probability scenario, and I am always going to trade the higher probability scenario. Doesn't mean I'm going to be right every single time, even though we have been right, literally long from the bottom, short from the top, short at the top here, right? And I don't say that to brag. I just, I show why I take these trades more often than not, right? And I show the key levels and let you guys know what I'm looking at. But it's all based off TA, right? It's not because I'm a good guesser or I'm a wizard or anything like that. It just has to do with TA playing out more than it doesn't. So, when we start to see that money flow coming out, on a rejection of the macro Fibonacci retracement, it's a little bit alarming. So we're really hoping for this to be like one last shakeout and then money flow just fakes out, right? Hopefully we can get like an SFP of 107K and then just send it up. Worst case scenario, hit the 786 at 104 and send it back up. If we lose that level, I just have to lean much more bearish for a bigger drop down into the 90s. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. We'll take a look at the altcoins in just a second. Shout out to Jeff Gates, said, love the show. Keep up the great work. Shout out to Jeff. Welcome in, bro. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you for being here. Love the hat. Shout out to Rudy. Let's go. We got the all-black Frankie Candles hat right now, today, guys. Available on frankiecandlestrading.com. Or if you smash that like button, it's free. You don't have to buy the hat. If we get 550 likes on tonight's live stream, we'll give one of them. We'll add one of them to the Friday's giveaways. Let's see. I won't touch it until I see a green dot on the 2-day. Saw 5 dots on the daily in 1 day, and it's giving me nightmares. Yeah, shout out to Lucia. Again, Market Cypher being the choppy price action has it obviously helped us catch the short from the top here. But, you take a look at this daily here. I mean, when I say that Market Cypher is choppy, right, there's a reason for that. I mean, look at this. Just red dot stepped on by a green dot. Green dot stepped on by a red dot. Green dot, red dot. I mean, this is just unreadable. So, yeah, definitely choppy stuff here. And, to delete some of the noise, right, what you could do is just simply wait for the higher time frame. You can see the 2-day was not chopped up. It's a higher time frame. It moves a lot slower, and it deletes a lot of that noise on the lower time frame. So you got the red, green, right? But on the 2-day, you would have just simply been waiting for that VWAP to come down for the 2-day red dot. Now, I wouldn't have entered the trade here. You would have been pretty late to the move. But yeah, I mean, I would say, you might get a green dot on the daily and then a red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, but that 2-day is probably going to give you a more trustworthy signal, if you will. Shout out to Devanch. I can't really see your name, but it says name of the indicator. This indicator is called Market Cypher B. Or it's just called Market Cypher. If you want to try to, and this is a paid indicator. You do not need this to make money trading, but it does help a lot. Obviously, I use this every single day. I used it before I had a YouTube channel. We do have a discount code if you're interested. I actually think I have a lower third here that will give you that code. MC Frank 20, and I think it saves you 10% though. I don't know, it's not 20%, it's 10%, I believe. But if you want to save 10%, you could use our link. If not, you could just go to the Market Cypher website. But again, I used this years before I had a YouTube channel. I don't just say that because we get a kickback. If you want to help support the channel, it does help us. But you don't need this to be profitable. And again, I've used this for many, many years before I ever even thought there was an idea of having a YouTube channel. This is like a main part of my analysis, but it is paid. And Black Friday is coming up as well, by the way, guys. If you're looking to spend any money on any trading tools and you want to try to save as much as possible, Black Friday is the biggest sale in trading and all over the place. But specifically for trading, like I think they do 60% off for Market Cypher, which is crazy. Lux Algo, another indicator that I love, does like crazy Black Friday deals. TradingView does crazy Black Friday deals. The Black Friday deals on trading tools are insane. I can't stress that enough. So if you could stick it out till Black Friday, you're going to save a butt ton of money. But if you did want to rush in there, you could use our code to save a little bit more. But I can't promise you 60%. It's like 10% versus 60%. Can alts run even if BTC does not put it in all-time high? I do think they can. And again, I can't guarantee it, right? But like, let's say, let me pull up let me pull up some higher time frame levels here real quick. So again, right, like this 107K level is important for a reason. If we pull up the higher time frames, right, like we do not want to get accepted back into this range, right? Because why not, right? Well, very simply put, here's a deviation above the high, bearish divergences, sweep of liquidity, right? And at that point, like these are bearish confirmations. At that point, right, if money flow is going to bleed out here, right, on the higher time frames, if we get stuck back into this range, guys, and we cannot break back above $108,000, and we lose that 786, the chances of filling this volume profile at least to the POC at 96,672 is very high probability. We lose the POC, the full fill of the range down to the value very low is very high probability as well for a full fill of that volume profile. So I don't know exactly. Like, if we break down below that 786, maybe we get the retracement here, like a big retracement back up to 108K, and then, like, that is where you see the altcoins rally. You can see that happen. I can't guarantee it's exactly what's going to happen this time, but it is something that we've seen happen, and it could definitely be the case. It's actually the two scenarios I've been covering, right, are either we hold above 107K, go into a final parabolic all-time high, alts run with that, or you get the bigger breakdown, and then alts run on the retracement. Is it possible that the alts don't run at all? I mean, maybe. But again, you start to look at your Bitcoin dominance, still looking weak on the higher time frames. I would still say the door is open still for some kind of an alt run to come in. Again, I can't say, and like I've been very explicit about, doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow or next week or even in the next month. Hopefully in the next month, I would hope. If it doesn't start happening in the next month, we could start to question it. But again, everybody just tries to call like alt season starts on this day, right? The last alt season video that I made was alt season loading. Right? It does not mean, hey, after this, you get out of this video, your altcoin's going to moon. Right? It's alt season loading where I covered all of this stuff. The weakness on Bitcoin dominance, the RTY breaking out, total 2, right? We covered a lot of this stuff. The rate cuts coming down the line. We are building out an environment where alts have an ability to have a big run. This does not mean that like alt season is here. Right? But just, I would still say a lot of those macroeconomic things, a lot of the higher time frame charts on Bitcoin dominance, total 3, RTY, all that good stuff is still here, right? Like none of that has really changed. But again, Bitcoin likes to throw some effery into the mix, right? And that just might be what we wind up seeing here. Pumptober is coming. Yeah, shout out to Servando Estrada. That's the, they call September Rectember for a reason, right? And again, it's not like we're even making lower lows here just yet. But if we do, it's like, well, hey, September's not over, right? Maybe we can go down for one last flush, freak people out. But then we really got to start getting cooking here. And I'll update you guys, right? If we break down below that 786 and money flow is coming out, you already know what I'm going to be calling for, right? It's going to be like, hey, guys, if we want a massive move to the upside, if we wanted a massive higher low to come in here for a massive higher high, what do we want to see? We want to see money flow in the red crossing into the green. We have the literal opposite here, right? So I'm not just saying this for no reason. It's on the charts. So, yeah, it's like, that's why I say you're basically just waiting for you're basically hoping for a fake out here, which again I have to keep an open mind to that happening, right? But I would still have to say that the higher probability here is more downside based off the high time frame money flow until proven otherwise. Until that money flow scoots back to the green, it's coming out, right? Like I hate saying that, right? Like I wish I could come up here and just say it's going to the moon, it's going to the moon, right? Maybe long term it is going to the moon, but locally here I actually can't ignore these signals, right? On top of the fact that like I have to pay attention to these signals because I want to know if I should hold my short for lower or not, right? Because we're making money if we go down as well. And if you don't know how to make money trading Bitcoin, whether the price goes up or down, check the beginner series. I have every video you need to watch to help you understand how to not only make money and be a slave to the bull market, but let's just say the top is in here, right? There is no better time to learn how to trade than if the top is in, right? Which again is not my base case right this second, but it is starting to get a little bit suspicious. So, just like we make money in the bull market on the spot bags, you can make massive money on the shorts on the way down to the bull market, bear market, right? It's like bull market, kind of just another bull market if you can make money going both ways. Bull market, if we go into a bear market, it's basically just another bull market. So yeah, I know, some new people like don't even know you can do that. It's like the best thing ever. It's why I love being a trader. It feels like cheating. It's like, long term, obviously I want my spot bags to pump. But at the end of the day, like day to day, I don't really care if it goes up or down. I just want to know when it's going up or down and if it's going to go up or down. And then I can make my bet and make some money whether it goes up or down. So there you go. Yeah, shout out to James said long-term facts. Short-term, wild. Yeah, short-term is definitely a wonky situation. Shout out to Aziz said, Frankie, are you a history repeats guy, October pump style, or a this cycle is different believer? Shout out to Aziz. I would say I am definitely not a this time is different believer, even though there are reasons to believe that this cycle is different. I cover this all the time. Every cycle kind of has its own little quirk. Just because I think every cycle has been different, right? Like 2021 was like a double top kind of situation, right? 2017 was like a blow off top situation. And we've seen way more blow off tops, right? Like blow off top, blow off top. This is like a weird double top. So, statistically, you've seen more blow off tops than you have double tops. But it doesn't mean that you can't have a weird wonky top happen like this, just like we did back here. Just because it happened. So I would say I'm more of a history oftentimes rhymes. It never repeats. It oftentimes rhymes, though. And I'm not usually, very, very rarely am I a this time is different guy. And yes, factually, this time has been different. We've made an all-time high before the halving. It is different, right? Like factually, it is different. But I just don't know if that leads us to just more. When I try to like fade the this time is different people, it's like people who are just calling for like, oh my God, this time is different, up only. right? Or, oh my God, this bear market's different. We're going to 3K, right? It's like those extremes of this time is different I want to avoid, right? Because every cycle is going to be different. This one was different. And you can see, like, I know a lot of people hate this bull run. I know a lot because the alts are getting crushed. But, like, this is such a clean bull market, right? It's not as explosive or aggressive, which is typically what happens when an asset matures like this. But it's a nice, healthy clean up. Lackluster retracement, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? So like just like very clean trend. And this is probably because this cycle is different. There's much more institutional money. There's much more money propping up this market at this point. So it is different factually, but like I just wouldn't say that this time is different leads to, oh my God, we're going to $1 bazillion, or oh my God, this is the last bull market, we're going to zero. You just want to avoid the extremes. So I am a history rhymes. Doesn't always repeat, but it oftentimes rhymes. I would say that's my stance. And I am not a this time is different person, even though, like, just to give you, like, the real answer, it's like, yes, this time is different. Like, this is how I explain that. But I wouldn't say that indicates, like, oh, my God, we're just going to go up forever, $1 million incoming. Hopefully that's the case, right? I wouldn't be opposed to that. But I definitely would be expecting this to play out a little bit more. I would expect history to rhyme more than I would just expect this to keep going forever, right? You're going to have another pullback. It's going to be another bear market, I promise. So, yeah. What kind of calf routine do you use, or is it genetics? Shout out to Alan. I don't have a legitimate calf routine. I have always worked out a lot throughout my life. Not recently, unfortunately. But no, I do not really work out my calves specifically. My dad doesn't have gigantic calves, but he does have gigantic forearms. My dad's forearms, it's like hand, arm, like gigantic blimp forearms. And I think his forearms just went to my calves. I think that's really what it is. So I guess like kind of half and half. Let's see. Especially if you took some profit. Shout out to Bear Market Blues. Said, oh, it's not so bad unless if you took, especially if you took profits. Yeah, shout out to Bear Market Blues. You got to pay yourself. If you don't pay yourself, you're never going to make money. Shout out to J Squad in the chat, dropping that, coming in and flexing that check mark. Shout out to J Squad. Let's go. He said it's so over for the Bears. Shout out to J Squad. I hope so. They're winning locally. But hopefully the Bulls can prevail. But yeah, let me jump into some of the altcoins here, guys. We'll jump into Solana. Obviously, Solana, what did we take a look at last week? I never say this to brag or pretend that we're the best or anything like that, even though we might be the best. There's the key level. Just like 112K on Bitcoin, this zone right here, sitting between 220.10 and 210.56, was the key level on Solana. Why? Why was this the level? Well, very simply put, we had some local levels of support down here, but why didn't I love it? Right? Why didn't I like this for a massive rip to the upside, but rather a bigger continuation down at least to the golden pocket 786, if not the value area low? Why? Why, Frankie? Why did you look for that last week? Well, simply put, we came into the value area high. You flip the low, next likely place for price to go is the POC. You stay inside the range, next stop is the value area high. We now tapped into that value area high with bearish divergences on the higher time frames, a sweep of liquidity just like on Bitcoin, and at that point, there's your bearish confirmation. This is where you want to look for shorts, whether you think Solana is going to go to $500 or not, right? You're going to be looking at this from a trading perspective as an opportunity to press this thing to the downside and cash in on some money. So me personally, we had some local support there, right? I think it was a Fibonacci retracement. Maybe it was just this Fib retracement. Whoops. Right? Is the higher low possible here for a low high? Higher low, higher high? Sure. Like a lot of people would argue, yeah, man, like it's the uptrend. That's where you would look for the higher low. Could it happen? Yes. But why were we not looking at that? Why was I not interested in that? The answer is because you rejected the value area high, making the POC the very likely next stop for price. And on top of that, look at your money flow. Your money flow was crossing over into the red. 3-hour money flow crossed over into the red right here. At that point, sure, you're hitting support. Could you look for a little bounce? Sure. But is that high probability of a massive move up? Not really, because when money flow comes out, you're looking for a lower high and a lower low. This means you're better off looking for shorts at the lower highs rather than longing the lows for massive pumps up. This is going against your money flow. You do not want to do that more often than not, right? Like 9 out of 10 times, I would say, right? And here we are, right? I preferred this level. Here we are. Not because I'm the best, just because of the reasons I just explained. Now you can do the same thing, right? Next time you see price come into a Fibonacci retracement, you can say, well, hey, we could bounce here, but I don't like the way that money flow looks. I'm going to sit on my hands. I'm going to sit out on these little lackluster bounces and just wait for the bigger level. So we have come down. We are currently holding the PLC golden pocket. Still have the 786 sitting down here at about 210.78. This is your next key level of support. I would not be super, super shocked if you can get a little bit of a bounce from here. We do have the 4-hour green dot printing. But again, look at your 4-hour. What would the bounce from this level indicate? Well, I definitely wouldn't be looking for massive moves to the upside. Could it happen? Sure. And, hey, if I'm going to be wrong, I'd rather be wrong and I'd rather be wrong looking for downside and just getting random upside, right? Because I hold spot Solana. I'm not holding any shorts on Solana. So, hey, if this does wind up being the bounce and money flow just completely fakes out, that's great. But it's more likely, right? The higher probability. Trading is really just all about probabilities, guys. You're never going to know if this is guaranteed to be the low, right? All you could do is go with the higher probability. And if you use good risk management, you're going to be right more than you're wrong, and you're going to be able to be consistently profitable over time. So what are we be anticipating here with money flow coming out? Obviously, it's going to be looking for lackluster retracements, lower highs, and lower lows. If we get the bounce from here, I'd be targeting the 786. And then once you lose that 786, we're going to be looking down towards that value area low, sitting at 192.72, right? For a full range fill to the upside and a full range fill to the downside with beautiful confirmations. Kind of upset. I should have threw a short in there on Solana as well, right? This will change your life, guys. If you're new here, go to the beginner series on the channel and look up the volume profile video, right? This is a volume profile. Very simply put, there's going to be times where you go to the low, you go to the high, you go to the low, you go to the high. These are very high probability trades. There's going to be a time where you can flip the value area high and move up, right? Or lose the value area low and move down. But for the most part, for the range trades, you wait for the value area low and the deviation below. Once you reclaim the value area low, you look for the next probable place for price to go to be the POC, then the value area high. Deviate above the high, well, now you can look for a short, back to the POC, back to the low. Long the low, back to the POC, back to the high. You need confirmations. You need to know. You can't just long and short value area highs randomly in case you have a situation like this. But the way you identify these situations is if you have price bing-bonging around in a range like this, how do we know if this is going to break down or break up? Well, let's just use this exact example, right? If I have price bing-bonging around in this range, and money flow is coming out, the chances of this range breaking to the downside to continue and start an overall downtrend is higher than price going up and breaking above the highs. Until you get that money flow fake out, until you get that money flow crossover to happen, right, you can look for the longs at the lows and the shorts at the highs. Again, with confirmations, you have to understand what you're looking at. It's not as easy as just shorting the high and longing the low. But this will change your life when it comes to trading, because when you take those long positions, as long as you're not totally ignoring money flow, right? Because like if I came down here and got a bullish divergence or something, or got some kind of confirmation to look for a long position, I would not be looking for that to be a massive low before a new high. Why? Because the money flow is indicating lower highs and lower lows to be the higher probability scenario. But the nice thing is if you're trading these volume profiles, chances are you're probably looking for shorts at the value area high. So by the time this money flow crosses over, you're probably already in a short position from the high, and you're already in profit, hopefully with profits locked in. And at that point, if your stop loss is at break even and you've already taken profits, it's a guaranteed winning trade. You cannot lose that trade. If it rips up and stops you out, you get stopped out in profit. And if it breaks down, which would be the anticipation here, so if I was holding a short on Solana, I would hold this trade down to another key level of support, at least a portion of it, because I can make it a guaranteed winning trade. If it gets stopped out, I still win. And if I know there's a higher probability of money flow coming, or the continuation down based off money flow coming out, I'm just going to hold that trade, and it keeps me open to extra opportunity to continue to cash in on that trade. So a lot of people ask me, how do I know when this is going to break up or down? Well, money flow is a big sign of that, right? And that's just like simple volume profiles. Go check out that tutorial video if you have not seen it already. But, I mean, like, even if you looked at, like, this, maybe the 2 hour, right? Like, trying to show a, like, if you were looking at this as a volume profile, right? You could pull these all over the place, right? If you're looking at this as a volume profile, it's like, all right, well, hey, you go from the low, you can't see it, but from the low, deviation above the high, back into the range, back to the low. Bing bong around, back to the high, deviation above, right? And then you're looking at your money flow, and you're saying, hey, if I take a short, a scalp short above this value area high, I can look for the full fill of the volume profile, and then when price gets down here, what would I be saying to myself? I'll come into bar replay mode to really hammer this home, right? if I'm riding this down expecting the value area low to get hit, what happens when that value area low gets hit, right? Bada boom. Well, let's pretend I didn't go so fast. Right? Now I'm hitting the value area low. I could take some profits, move my stop loss to break even, but now I see my money flow crossing over. This means that this is probably going to continue the downtrend. Right? High, low, lower, high, lower, low. Right? Lower, high, lower, low. We're going to look for lower lows here. Right? So what would I do? I would take profit and hold a portion of this trade, targeting the bigger level of support. Notice I'm not looking for massive longs here. Why not? Because money flow's coming out. Right? And then obviously what happens? We know because it's in hindsight, right? You come right down to the POC. So that's why I said this is the bigger level that I wanted to look at. It has to do with the rejection from the value area high. And once you get back in here, high probability target of the POC and money flow is coming out, right? Multiple reasons to be looking towards that level. So I know a lot of people are probably thinking like, how do you know this level? Like, why this level? Why is this level the important one? Many reasons. POC is a magnet, especially when you reject the value area high. It's a Fibonacci retracement. And the money flow was coming out. Very high probability we came down here. It's not magic. It's not like I have a secret indicator here that I'm like calling stuff off of and I'm keeping it from anybody. That's exactly why. I teach it here for free every single weekday at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to the CandleMafia. But yeah, I forgot who it was. Somebody said they caught this Solana short that we looked at. Shout out to whoever that was. I forget. I think they super chatted last Friday. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, this is support, guys. But again, medium time frame, 4-hour money flow. I mean, again, where would I be looking for the lower highs and the lower lows? I'll just mark these out for you. Full Fibonacci retracement. Key local level of resistance is going to be sitting right here between 237.33 and 244.58. And if you don't make it all the way up there, you could also potentially look at the fib pulled from your lower high to your lower low. This comes in closer to 230.30 all the way up to about 235.45. These are the two retracement levels I would look at if we are anticipating lower highs and lower lows. Simply put. So there you go. Am I interested in a long position here? I mean, I don't know. I don't have any 4-hour. I don't have any like medium time frame bull divs. No 4-hour bull divs. No 3-hour bull divs. No 2-hour bull divs. Come on. I think it's a slight 1-hour bull div. Yeah, slight little 1-hour bull div. But again, fill the wick. I would rather fill this wick into the 786 personally. But just understand support. You do have the 4-hour green dot, 5-hour green dot looking to print, 6-hour green dot. But either way, lackluster bounce, lower highs, lower lows is what I'll be looking at. Whether that lower low is going to be into the 786 or the value area low, we'll have to see. If we bounce from where we are right now, lower high, lower low could just be into the 786. If we come down first and get the bounce, the lower high and the lower low would be targeting the value area low. That's what I'm looking at on Solana. Don't want to overcomplicate it. Volume profile is the biggest zone to look at. Lose 210.80, looking down towards about 192.82. That's why you rock, Frankie. Shout out to Pabs B. Let's go, baby. Welcome in, man. J. Cole said, should I hedge my spot bags and buy some put options? Shout out to J. Cole. Yeah, short the thing. Short the thing to zero. I'm just kidding. Shout out to J. Cole. It's the Frankie secret indicator. Shout out to Wolf of Crypto. Yes, I just look into my magical, I don't know. I don't have anything here. But yeah, it's a secret indicator, guys. This is all farce. I caught the Solana short perfectly based exactly on what you said. So grateful I learned from you, Frankie. Shout out to Wolf of Crypto. Maybe you were the one. Shout out to Wolf of Crypto. Let's go, baby. I think we threw some money on the stream for you. Dave Digital dropping those magnets on the chart. I'm kind of torn here, guys, because, as much as I would like price to bounce, I do kind of want to come down to some lower levels locally. I don't want to say that out loud because I know everyone's going to hate me if I say that. But maybe should we throw some magnets on the chart here? Should we? Yeah, you know what? I'll just do it for the. I'll do it for the Mafia here. We'll just put the magnets above. Maybe this will help. It could help. Come on. We'll have to put a few of them. Come on. Let me check super chats here real quick, guys, before we move on to the other altcoins. Yo, shout out to Golden. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Said, Frankie, are you telling me to let the Golden Swan loose? Do you remember what happened last time? I did that because I sent you screenshots. Shout out to Golden. Yes. Yes, I do remember that, bro. I do remember that. And my analytical brain is like, no way. And I'm like going back between the messages, and I'm looking at the chart. I'm like, oh, my God. Golden's the real deal, guys. Shout out to Golden. Let the Golden Swan loose, baby. Send it back up. Golden. Come on, baby. Come on. Shout out to Golden. Wig589 says, akin to someone taking the shot, having their burp right before hitting the dance floor and performing the worm. Shout out to Wick 589. The worm, the reverse worm, used to be my signature move at my middle school dances. It was pretty fire. It was so cool. Everybody thought I was awesome. I was the coolest guy in school. Just take my word for it. I'm just kidding, guys. Shout out to Wick 589, one of the most famous poets out there and an OG of the CandleMafia. Shout out to Wick 589. Thank you for being here, as always. Let's see. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in here. Took a look at Solana, took a look at Ethereum. I'm going to run through some altcoins very quickly here, guys. Cardano, 0. Let's take a look at Tau, 0. INJ, going to 0. Let's take a look at Link. Link is going to go up to 2190 and then 0. XRP, 0. I'm just kidding, guys. I would never do that. Let's jump into XRP first. I know that is a crowd favorite. Come on the alt template here. And let's take a look. All right. Okay. Man, I really wish I remember exactly what we were looking at here. I wish we knew. When was this? Oh, yeah, this is Saturday. Shout out to anybody on the live stream. I don't even remember what we were looking at here. I could probably dissect it here. Probably just looking for the same thing that we were looking at on Bitcoin. Lower highs and lower lows. Money flow crossing over into the red. Yeah, with the golden pocket. 786 above, right? Potential retracement into that golden pocket, 786 for lower high, lower low. We didn't get the push into the golden pocket. And I'm curious why I have the entry here, though. Might have been a local level of resistance, but either way, shout out to whatever I was saying there. If anybody took advantage of that, I wish I didn't look at so many altcoins so I could remember more of what we look at. But you can now take that off the chart. Obviously, we did get the continuation down. We had our key levels of support down here. Value area low, golden pocket 786. Oh, man. Holding the key level of support here, guys. I'm not going to lie. We sweat this low again, right? Let me just make sure this is an actual sweep. Yeah. Quite honestly, I mean, sentiment remains the same. We have money flow crossover continued us down. We lost the value area low. At this point, guys, looking at our high time frame money flow or medium time frame money flow, 4-hour money flow crossover into the red. It's at this point, right? Oftentimes, I would say, hey, if you have a reason to enter a long down here, you can look for a flip of the value area low, move to the PLC, move to the value area high. But money flow is stepping on that idea. Money flow is definitely pointing more towards a lower high and a lower low, right? So now I'm going to take this golden pocket off the chart. 786 is what we're holding, so I'm just going to move this box down here to make it a little cleaner. I would say the biggest level to get above for XRP, I mean, locally, this isn't even the biggest level. But, if we're going to get a bounce here, with money flow looking the way it does, lower highs and lower lows, zone number 1 to look for the rejection at, this is probably almost exactly what I did on Friday's live stream with that position, 289 to 294. If we break above that, maybe you could get a push deeper into the profile to your bigger Fibonacci retracement sitting between 297 and 304. I like this level a little better because you have the confluence on the Fib retracement and the value area low. It's like, well, hey, you break down out of the range. You can't get back out. You're looking for lower highs anyway. Look for the lower low. The only problem here is if we're looking for that lower low, we're breaking a pretty significant level. Right? We came and swept this liquidity back here. It gave us a nice pop to the upside. But if we break this again, unless it ends in an aggressive SFP at the low, wick down, closure above, massive pump, even if we did, I mean, money flow is just coming down here, guys. I don't want to over-explain it, right? Like, the anticipation here is a continuation down. Even if we push up locally, lower high, lower low. If we lose these lows decisively, the next level to look at is 250 to 260, right? It's our macro golden pocket. I would prefer not to come visit this level, but with the way money flow looks, it's definitely in the cards. If we put in the lower high, I'd be expecting that break of structure to the downside, targeting this bigger zone of support for XRP. And again, not just based off the structure, not just based off Fibonacci retracements, not just based off the volume profile, but also money flow. That's what I would look at on XRP. Definitely want to hold above these lows. Shout out to Wolf of Crypto, said it's my third bull, so I'm a bit used to getting out and in, but I'm still having some to feel exposed to crypto. and to the specific coin I believe in, but my goal is to stack more sats, more BTC, more ETH. Yeah, shout out to Wolf of Crypto. I think it's a great strategy, bro. I'd have to agree with that. Shout out to Cryptic Crabman. Said, I don't even have any moon bags left except Ada and Link that are staking. I just abuse the market with leverage. Shout out to Cryptic Crabman. That's what I like to hear, baby. I don't consider BTC a moonbag. Yeah, shout out to Cryptic Crabman. Let's go, baby. Smacking this thing with leverage. But that's what I'll be looking at on XRP, guys. Taking a quick look at Cardano or Cardanzo, as your grandmother might say. Taking a look, right? High time frame. Again, nothing to worry about here, at least as of right now, right? When in doubt, zoom out, guys. We talked about this last week. Low, higher low, higher low, right? This is good. And all of these higher lows came in on all of these higher lows came in on a 786 Fibonacci retracement. Until we break, if we break these lows, guys, I'm looking for a bigger drop down on Cardano. But we are still relatively high up here, tapping on the doorway to higher prices. 3-day money flow is still crossing into the green, as you can see in all of its glory here. Pretty choppy, obviously, but you got 3-day money flow still trying to come back up. You're just hitting your head on this value area low. Nothing too shocking. Now, pulling up some of the other key ranges, right? We looked at this yesterday, last week as well. Value area high retest, right? You go from the low to the POC, flip the POC to the high, fulfill the range. Absolutely beautiful. We are now rejecting the high, looking down towards the POC and the value area low as your next key levels. Anchored VWAP comes in right here at about 76 cents. So I would mark this off as a zone. This is obviously, this anchored VWAP is going to move as price action moves. But this zone sits here between 76 and 72 cents. It's just a simple volume profile. Taking a look at your 4-hour, right? Money flow back in the red. Not impossible to see the continuation of the downtrend, just like on Ethereum. You get into the range, you bounce, lower high, lower low. POC could be next. Lose that POC. I'm looking down towards the value area low at 65 cents. So whoops. Let me just pull this fib. Yeah, so you're holding the local golden pocket. Just like Solana, right? Like I would really prefer to come on down towards that POC anchored VWAP 786. If we do bounce here, I would definitely be cautious of lower highs and lower lows, right? So assuming that we're going to get lower highs and lower lows, just assume that is the case. If not, I'll give you guys an update on what I'll be looking at next. But based off money flow, very clearly, we'll be looking for lower highs and lower lows. So if we do get that, biggest level to look at is down here. Lose that POC 786, looking down towards about 65 cents. That's the local range. Value area high $1.01. POC sits at 72 cents, almost 73 cents. Value area low at 65 cents. This is your volume profile locally. And I think that's it. I think that's really all I have here for Cardano. You're kind of just bing-bonging around. Right? Even if you look at this... Even if you look at the lower range that we were chilling in, right? Lower range, you have this little upper range. You're just kind of bing-bonging around. The biggest level to get above is 90 cents still. Can't break 90 cents. Lower highs and lower lows are to be expected to the next key levels that I just brought up within this local profile. So there you go. You can mark out these levels if you want to get them on your chart. You can read the levels over here. Boom. And I'll even put a level here so you can get everything, right? So all these levels. That's the blue zone, value area low, value area high. I would at least want to wait for this. Lose it, value area low next. Shout out to Toasty Fry. Said, Mr. Candle's a legend. The Penguin Pengu is needing your help. Shout out to Toasty Fries. We could try to take a look at Pengu. No problemo. Let's take a look here. Would you be kind enough to take a look at the dot chart, rub that magic 8-ball of yours, and tell us what awaits us in the near future? Thanks in advance. Yeah, we will I'll try to take a look at Polkadot as well. But let's. I'm gonna start off here with. We could take a look at ZPCN. And here it is already 7 o'clock. I'm going to have to rush through some of these. Okay. Let me run into AVAX real quick. Oh, AVAX. The heck? AVAX getting the pop. That's it. Bottom's in, guys. Bottom's in. Is Bitcoin getting a bounce? Yes, Bitcoin getting the bounce. Not really. AVAX with a bounce here. But again, guys, when it not even when in doubt, just don't forget to zoom out, right? This is actually a pretty wild bounce, to be quite honest. Look at that wick. Good Lord. But as you guys know, we had this low volume gap on AVAX that we looked to get filled. Another beautiful, beautiful move called by the TA there. We knew once we got above here, we would probably see that fast fill of this low volume gap. Fast move down equals fast move up. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to over-explain that, but very nice to see that fill in full up to both of our key levels of resistance. We are currently rejecting the high volume node / weekly for a nice little pullback, and then what happens? You break back into the low volume gap, fast move down, right? Now we're getting a fast move up, right? Not a lot of respect in this range, so that's kind of why it's very volatile. But again, from a higher time frame perspective, I would still be looking at lower highs and lower lows. Why? Money flow, money flow, money flow, money flow, money flow, money flow. Money flow can be wrong, guys. Again, sometimes super new people will be like, money flow is coming out, we're going up. And it's like, well, yeah, they're coming up to make a lower high and a lower low. And at the end of the day, you could just scam out of here. But I would still say, right, you're pushing in, your key level of resistance still kind of sits here between the daily's now tapped, the weekly MPOC is now tapped, but you have the 786 and the golden pocket sitting between about 34.45 and 33.36. This would be the full retracement of this entire move down, right? So if you're looking for a lower high and a lower low, this is the place that you're probably going to do it. If you could flip on top of this, maybe you could take out the high again. You do still have a monthly MPOC and a daily sitting up here at 36.61. So for me, usually the 786 breaking above this would indicate that you're going to continue the uptrend, but I would just be careful because you might just be able to break structure here with money flow coming out like this. If you break structure, you could just reject that monthly MPOC again. We'll have to see how that plays out. But yeah, this would be now your next key level of resistance. 786 to the golden pocket. Break above that 786. I'd say the doorway to break structure to the upside is open. If you want a massive move, right? Because remember, the full fill of this volume profile is all the way up here at 40.66. Could we see that? I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's like if Bitcoin is dumping, I doubt that's going to be the case. But if Bitcoin could get the bounce, and you could take out this high and flip the monthly MPOC, this is the biggest level to look at for resistance to see that push into $40.48. Monthly MPOC, 36.63. Flip and hold that as support. Next target is going to be the value area high, which wouldn't be super unlikely or shocking, I would say, because you would get the full fill of this volume profile, right? We looked for the full fill of the gap. We got it. You got the pullback. Maybe you can continue up here to the value area high. But with the way money flow looks, I would definitely be careful. Number one, around this Fibonacci retracement. Number two, around that monthly MPOC. You got to make sure you don't get something like this and then back down. But those are the levels I'd be looking at on AVAX. Money flow looks the same as literally every other chart coming out. Lower highs and lower lows. The higher probability scenario, not guaranteed. Yeah, shout out to Wolf Crypto. Said, hey, Frankie, how do you analyze new coins like ASTER? Do you just let them be and get more info? Yeah, I mean, listen, if you don't have a lot of price history, you could do low time frame analysis, but to get any kind of higher time frame read on it, you're just kind of a slave. What is it? MYX. This thing was just cooking to the upside. You could do local analysis, but at the end of the day, from a high time frame perspective, right? There's not much you can do with this. So yeah, sometimes you just have to let price action develop. Actually, just checking in on this really quick. I'm not going to do full analysis, but look at that rejection from the value area high. You're now breaking down out of the range. Your 4-hour money flows in the red. Look at this green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot. Good Lord, this thing is choppy AF. Choppy AF. But yeah, beautiful rejection off the value area low. Next key level here for anybody interested, not that anybody requested this, you got a golden pocket sitting here at 769. Yeah, 769 all the way down to 713. So that's your next key level that I would expect some kind of turbulence on. So little intermediary pit stop there. So we took a look at XRP, took a look at Cardano, Took a look at AVAX. Let's take a look at NOS. Or I'll take a look at Nosana in a second. We'll take a look at ZBCN. See if I can give you guys a little bit of an update on this. We do have a chart on this. I mean, unless I'm lying and we don't. Pretty sure we do. Might have done it by accident over here. ZBCN. Man, maybe we don't have a ZB. If we do not have a ZBCN chart. Oh, no, here we are. Okay, I knew we had it somewhere. All right, so, yeah, I mean, you're holding your golden pocket. Nice little bounce there. Has Bitcoin taken off yet? Not really. It's just not following the alts. Maybe this is the retracement. Maybe this is the alt pump on the retracement. But yeah, I mean, you came down, value area high, bearish confirmations, back into the range. POC is likely. Can't break out of the range. You're just playing with the POC. The POC is the strongest magnet within the profile, right? You could bing bong around here for a while. If you get accepted under this POC and lose the golden pocket, I still think this is the bigger level to look at. Is it possible to hold the higher low on the golden pocket, right? Low, high, higher low for an eventual higher high? Maybe. Let's check money flow. It looks a little different. I mean, money flow is still definitely in the red. You don't have any bullish divergences. Yeah, you got lower time frame bull div, so you might be able to continue up here a little bit, but to be totally honest with you, let's check the 2-day. Yeah, 2-day money flow is in the red. I mean, generally, high, low, lower high, lower lows in the cards. I would just pay attention to this profile. If you lose if you lose 36300, I am looking down towards the value area low 786. I'm never as interested in these golden pocket trades when they're below the POC because remember, from a simple volume profile perspective, the highest probability is, especially when money flow is coming out, back into the range, POC, it could be ugly, it could be confusing, but eventually you are oftentimes going to see that value area low to come in. If you don't want to see the value area low come in, this is the level you have to hold. I mean, once you lose this, 100% looking down here. So, and what would be the last Fibonacci retracement to look for the lower high? I mean, let's see. Pull from the local low to the high. This would be resistance level number 1 locally. Whoops. Sitting right here between 46184 and 49278. And then beyond that, you could just look at the full retracement, which just gives you resistance on the value area high. So, I mean, honestly, to see this thing blast into new all-time highs, you got to get above 60866, all the way at the 786 up here, right? And that would be all-time highs? Yes. So, you got a lot of work to do here. You know, same thing on Ethereum, right? Like, I just try to find, like, similar scenarios. It's like, yes, you can bounce off local levels on Ethereum, right? Yes, you can bounce off this local golden pocket. Right? But the chances of it being a macro high or low for a massive move up, especially with all this resistance, you have your value area high, you have your 786, you have your golden pocket, like you have a lot of resistance above you, but you're just within your range. You could look for a little bounce up, but overall, like you could get stuck in this range and see the full fill. Like that's typically what we look for. And the reason I don't love ZBCN, or at least why I wouldn't be as interested in a long here as much as I would be down here, is just simply because if you bounce off this golden pocket, you know, that's great. I hope it moons, right? But more often than not, right, when you're stuck under this POC, it's usually just gets choppy and you lose it to the value area low. A lot of times you don't even get above it, right? You'll just kind of bounce into the POC and then get the rejection. Obviously not the case here, but that's what I would look for. This is your next key zone of resistance between these two levels. So we'll see. If you could break above that, next stop would be the value area high. But other than that, we'll see what kind of turbulence we can get here. And just know if you lose that golden pocket, very likely coming down here. So there you go. There is ZBCN. Yeah, 4-day green dot looking to print potentially soon here. VWAP coming up. Money flow still in the green. 3-day. VWAP trying to come back up. 2-day green dot looking to print as well. But again, money flow. It's just this money flow, guys. You're just really praying that this money flow is all faking out for massive moves up. It's definitely possible, but you know, probability-wise, I'd be careful of more downside. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll check back in on it. Yo, shout out to Wolf of Crypto. Said, Wick, did you join the XRP army? We're recruiting. Shout out to Wolf of Crypto. Let's go. Dogecoin. Yeah, we could take a quick look at Dogecoin. Let's take a look at Doge real quick. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. All right, so here we are. Dogecoin. Well, surprise here, guys. Surprise. Here's our zone that we were looking at. I don't know if it was Friday or if it was Thursday, but there's your golden pocket retracement. Anchored VWAP confluence on the value area high. I mean, it's support. It's local support. I mean, it's not like, oh, my God, this is, again, like definitely support, definitely bounces to potentially come. Look at your 4-hour. It's the same sentiment for all altcoins and Bitcoin, right? Like, unless we get some kind of, like, you're hoping for some kind of scam bounce, and then I'll have to reanalyze the charts and be like, all right, well, now we got the fake out. Now what are we looking at? But until then, guys, I am still everything. Like, lackluster bounces. You're below the POC of the range. The one nice thing here is you have not filled the range in full. I'd be much more worried, or not worried, but I'd be much more bearish if you had a whole fill the volume profile. And now we're coming down here, right? Because then you're anticipating the full fill of the range again. You would have gotten the full fill up, and then you're looking for the full fill down. But that's not what we have here, right? You're still just we're just within our volume profile. So as long as Dogecoin stays above 16, 17 cents at the macro value area low, it could just get really choppy before eventually getting above the POC and going to the high. Locally, I have to call what I see, right? Which is, hey, green dot confirmed on the 4-hour, 5-hour green dot is printing. 8-hour green dot is looking to print. Some of your lower time frame money flow, you can see that 8-hour green dot is coming in on the 8-hour, but 30-minute money flow or 24-minute money flow is trying to come up. Likely that'll leak into the 30-minute as well. 15-minute money flow finally trying to cross into the green. So there are signs, right? Medium time frame green dots with low time frame money flow for retracements, but that is exactly what I would look at them as. Retracements for lower highs and lower lows potentially. Next biggest level I would look at is going to be the 786 value area low here. We looked at the golden pocket on Friday or Thursday's live stream. I don't remember exactly which one, but we looked at that last week. We're now sitting there, right? If we lose this, I'm looking down here, and that would be my anticipation even on pushes to the upside, being very careful with the pumps because of the money flow. Simply put, on everything, any altcoin you look at is very likely going to look like this. Unless it looks totally different, then you can look at it differently. But if it looks like this, lower highs, lower lows are the anticipation, right? Just like back here. Right? You get the red dot, you get the green dot, but money flow is coming out. You get a little bull div here on the 4-hour. Sure, that's a sign that you could get a bounce. You could long this, right? As long as you understand the context of this is probably not going to be a massive bounce, right? You get your bull divs, you get the bounce, but then you put in a lower high and what? A lower low. What is your money flow doing? It's coming down. It's the same thing every single time. It won't play out every single time, but it's the higher probability situation, which is exactly what you want to look for when you're looking for the trades, when you're looking for a confident move. You got to have that You got to be going with the money flow. It's the higher probability move. So this is what I would look at. You kind of have this little volume profile down below for context. But yeah, I mean, just retested this range. Maybe we get another retracement. But until we flip that POC and start breaking out in a big way, I would look for the lower high and the lower low targeting down here between 20 and 23 cents. POC, honorable mention, sitting at 22 cents. But I would say the confluence here is a bit better, right? Level number 1, level number 2. So we'll see what happens. But that's what I look for on Dogecoin. Same exact sentiment as every other altcoin. Let's see here. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Gencho. Says a bit late today. Did we look at AVAX already? Yes, we actually just looked at AVAX a couple of minutes ago. Shout out to Baby G, or also known as Baby Genius, said, my sister hit me up yesterday asking if she should download Robinhood. Just FYI, fam, tally for alt season. Great stream, Frankie. Preach, you homie. Preach, you homie. Preach, Matt, preach. Preach, dude. Shout out to Baby G. Yeah. And again, as long as we hold above $107,000, guys, the doorway to all-time highs is still open. With the pre-assumption that money flow is making a scenario like this, as of right now, looking very unlikely. But from a technical level, if we were ignoring money flow, which I don't really ever do unless it's super chopped up like it has been recently, if we were to ignore money flow, there's nothing wrong with holding this structure for the higher low. Once you lose that 786, guys, 107K is going to get broken, in my opinion. And if we can't hold that, that's where things start to get ugly. But this dump alone, right? Although we have made money on it, it's not a bad thing, right? From a trading perspective, obviously for the health of the bull market, maybe. But it's too soon. It is too soon to say that the top is in 100%. You know, would I've much rather just gotten a rip to the upside here? Absolutely. But, you know, macro lower high opportunity. But to confirm that, right, it's like we can now target, right? The idea for this short, by the way, just to explain this a little bit, because we knew that this was a high probability area to put in a lower high, the final target, right, or can eventually be a break of structure to the downside, right? Because we're looking for a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low. That lower low to come in would have to crack structure right here, right? So that could be a final target, but that doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to hit it, right? I would say money flow is probably pointing towards a high probability of that, even if you get a big retracement. But until we break that 107K level, I would still say, right, like you're above major support, you could hold the higher low and eventually keep that higher high. But money flow coming out, macro rejection from the golden pocket, as of right now, guys, is definitely looking like a lot more bearish than bullish, in my own personal opinion. So that's my thoughts. We showed the trades. I am still holding a portion of my long from 107K as well. So I'll keep you guys updated here as price action develops. But here we are at 728 for a full... I'm already getting the phone calls, guys. Yeah, should have gone this long, but I had to get all the sauce to you guys. So, yeah, if you appreciate the live stream, guys, don't forget to smash the like button. We'd greatly appreciate it. You have no idea how much it helps out the channel. So smash that like button if you appreciate the daily updates on these live streams and the market updates earlier today. And if anything crazy happens before the live stream tomorrow, I'll drop a market update to keep you guys in the loop on what we're expecting next on price action. Digital Pencil said, "Hey, Frankie, I just spoke with Michael Saylor, and he said it's okay to buy the dip." Shout out to Digital Pencil. What is going on, bro? Thank you for that. I've been waiting for the signal. That's the signal, guys. But that's all the time I got for today's live stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you. If you're looking for a place to trade, you can check the affiliate links in the description down below. If you're looking for indicators, anything, check the links in the description. If you want to learn how to trade for absolutely free, just watch the YouTube channel, guys. Trading courses with the information on my YouTube channel are $1,000 plus. It's all for free on YouTube here. So if you want to learn how to trade, get to work, put in the work, have the grit, have the work ethic, go through the tutorials, watch them, and start making money trading Bitcoin, whether price goes up or down. That's all the time I got for today, guys. No fake out tonight because I literally got to run. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know, on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, hey, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, hey, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, hey, and it's time to